Amma, what are we doing here? Amma refused to offer any information. All she'd said at school was that she had something important to do, and Natsia was to watch Isha and Mateen while she did it. This is your daughter? The woman at the shop smiled at Amma. She wore jewelry that clinked and sparkled with her every movement, drawing attention from the crowd of men around the stall. Her dupatta was draped casually over her head and slipped back farther every time she moved. Her body seemed to dance in waves, even though her feet were planted firmly on the ground. Her clothes were worn, and her face had the weathered look of someone who spent the day after day toiling under the sun. Amma wiped her round face with the corner of her dupatta. Sweat dripped down her neck and plastered the front of her camise to her chest. Yes, Natsia is 14. She'll be married at the end of the school year. Isha is 10 and Mateen is 4. Amma nudged Natsia forward. Where are your manners? Say salam to Shanaz. Natsia mumbled a greeting and turned back to Amma. What are we doing here? Your mother is here to find work, Shanaz said. But she is working. She sews clothes. It's not enough, Beta. Shanaz looked at Natsia with soft eyes. Your big brother has run away, and your father is taking his time recovering from his injury. He broke his leg. Who did this woman think she was, accusing Abu like that? Injuries like his took time. It's been weeks, child. How do you expect to get married if there's no money to pay for your jehey? There's so much to manage far before the wedding day. It's not just your wedding, Natsia. Amma's voice was weary. What about the rent? Neighbors bringing food is fine for a while. The sewing covers the small necessities, but we have to find a way to pay for the roof over our heads. Natsia thought. There had to be a way. Then her eyes brightened. I know. Why don't you ask Uncle Tariq? You know he will do anything to help us. Amaz pursed her lips and shook her head. But why not? Natsia frowned. You know why. You will marry his son soon. We cannot humiliate ourselves in front of him before the wedding. He cannot know of our hardships. But why? If they are willing to have me in their family, then taking care of us for a few months should not matter. Even we have our pride, Natsia. We may not have much more than that, but at least we have our pride. What good is pride if it just gets in the way? Natsia stared at Amma. Was there no other way? Were they really that poor? She had always believed that they were well off, that money would never be an issue. Whenever anyone in the neighborhood had troubles, Amma was among the first to share whatever they had in the house. What kind of work? She asked finally. I've set up some houses for your mother, Shanaz said as she began walking past the shops toward the hill, where the homes were larger than any Natsia had ever seen. Come on, we have to move faster. If your mother does well, then the Mem Sahib will keep her. I've got 3 houses waiting for her. Amma's breath came in short gasps as she tried to keep up with Shanaz. You'll need to watch over Isha and Mateen while I do the houses. Houses? Natsia's cheeks grew warm. You mean clean houses? Like a Masi? Yes, Amma grunted. Natsia stopped short and gaped at her mother, who had never worked outside her home a day in her life. Does Abu know? Nahi, of course not. Amma's panting grew more labored as she continued her climb. You haven't told him? Natsia balled up her fists, nails digging into her palms. How could Amma make such a hasty decision without even checking with Abu? Didn't she know how protective he was of their family? Did she think he would not mind? What would he say when he learned that Amma was shaming their family name and sullying Abu's honor? What would he do when he found out? And then another thought occurred to her. If Amma intended to keep this from Abu, why did she bring the children along? Did she really think they would not speak of it to their father? You want me to watch Isha and Mateen? Why didn't you just leave them at home with Abu? Did you have to pull me out of school? She was falling behind because she had to babysit? Amma didn't look back. Abu wasn't home. Natsia grabbed Mateen and slung him onto her hip as she hurried to keep up. Not home? Amma, he can't walk. Amma stopped abruptly and turned to Natsia. Your Abu can walk. He limps, yes. His injuries were bad. Gashes and bruises, but no broken bones. His leg has healed. He goes to the market for most of the day while you are away at school. He comes home and lies in bed just before you return. She glanced at Mateen and moved on. Ask your brother. He knows. Natia sucked in her breath and tightened her grip on Mateen. Why was Amma always seeing the worst in Abu? Before the injury, Abu was gone every day, toiling from dawn to late in the night. How could someone like that bear the torture of lying motionless in bed for weeks? Natia could picture her father attempting to regain his strength as soon as she left for school each morning. Abu lying on the mattress to exercise his leg as he lifted, pulled, and stretched. She knew that as soon as he was able, Abu would urge his limbs to carry his weight and go back to work. Mateen put a chubby hand on her cheek, turning her face toward him. It's true, he pouted. Abu goes out all day, and he doesn't even play with me. Natia moved his hand away. He can't play with you all the time. He needs to get better. He can't do that lying around the house, can he? There were times when gaps between Abu's paying jobs were long, but somehow they always managed to get by, and Abu always found work again. Natia decided that Amma was being too hard on him. Even if Abu could walk, he was still far from recovered. He needed more time to heal before he could go back to doing construction work. And if he did go out, wasn't that the best way to work his leg and speed up his recovery? They couldn't afford to take him to a physiotherapist. Walking the market was the next best thing. Abu knows what he is doing, Amma. You need to trust that he will take care of us like he always does. And when Abu finds out about this, you know he'll be angry with you. Leave your mother alone, Shanaz called out. She knows what is best for all of you. Natsia stared at the woman's back, her flimsy clothes shifting with every step. I'm only coming along for today, she shouted. Don't expect us all to tag along tomorrow. Shanaz was about to say something when Amma stopped her. Leave her be. She will find out the truth soon enough. There's nothing to find out, Natia wanted to say. Amma should have stayed home and waited until he was better before going behind his back to find work. What was she thinking? Amma could have easily have picked up some more clothes to sew or sold one or two pieces of jewelry set aside for the wedding. No matter what Shanaz said, there was still plenty of time to buy more for the Jehe when Abu found work again.